Very happy on Ralphie Tonight to chat with singer-songwriter Sia. You know her from, I don't know, David Guetta's Titanium and Flo Rida's Wild Ones. She co-wrote Rihanna's Diamonds and a gazillion other hits. But her new album's out now, 1,000 Forms of Fear. Just found out it's the #1 album on iTunes at the moment. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ralphie.
I'm a little surprised that you are doing radio interviews. Were you forced to do this, or was this your idea?
No, I don't really, because my contract says I don't have to do anything, so I chose to do this because I guess I'm more ambitious than I knew. So my label and everyone said that if I were to do, say, 40 minutes of press, that I would probably, hopefully, stay at #1. And then I could have the little thing in the billboard from my mum where I could send her the paper that says #1.
I love that.
You know, which would be nice for her.
Throughout the creation of this album and the release and the promotion, what else have you kind of maybe surprised yourself with or maybe learned about yourself?
Well, I learned again that I didn't want to be recognizable because I got a little bit like that. It was interesting because, you know, my plan was to do nothing. And then I was excited by a couple of, I wanted to have a conversation with Howard Stern, and that was interesting to me. I love Ellen, so I wanted to do that, and they bought into my a concept of having my back turned to the audience, and I wanted to have Maddie come on and do that, and then Lena Dunham was up doing a funny thing, so I said yes to Jeff because that was funny and interesting to me. And then I got to sing for the president. These things were things that I really were fun.
You're being very anti-selfie in this selfie generation. Do you feel like you're kind of setting an example that maybe yes, this is, because I think some people don't think that this is possible. Some people are like, well, if you're going to have an album on a major label and it's going to be #1 on iTunes and you're going to do all of this press, well then you're going to have to take all the downfalls with it. And I guess maybe what you're proving thus far, and I hope you continue to do so, is that that's not really the case. Do you feel like you're setting that trend?
Well, I mean, it was an experiment. I didn't have any desire to educate or set an example per se. It was really just an experiment. I guess I have the luxury as well of not needing to sell my own solo records as an artist because now I write pop songs for all of these massive pop stars. So I get a large portion of my income is from that. And so I guess the absence of expectation makes it makes me more confident to fail.
Sia is on Ralphie Tonight right now. All right, so I listened to the album top to bottom. I was a big fan of it. I mean, it's a pop album, but it's not your typical pop album by any stretch of the imagination. I'm really curious, though, Sia, when you're writing and recording these songs, where's your head at? Where's your mind at? I mean, does it change from song to song? Was it kind of in one consistent place throughout the creation of this entire album?
I think it's interesting that you should say, where's your mind at? Because I think that's probably the one thing that I try and eliminate from the process. I guess some of these songs I actually was in my studio, and my intention was to write for pop stars. So I would go in, I would listen to a track, sing along to it, and if it felt like a smash or whatever, I would finish writing it based on the melody in the track. I would then add lyrics, and out of those times, perhaps I was like, oh wow, I'm attached to this song. I think I'm going to keep this. That's weird. I just wrote a pop song, and now I want to give it away. And then the other stuff, I guess I write from scratch with my friends, and maybe that's more emotional, or maybe it comes more from personal experience. But I guess all of them, the ones that I choose, I relate to.
Now, I'm even more intrigued now because it almost sounds like for a lot of this, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were absent-minded then, really. You were just kind of in a completely different place.
Exactly. That is what happens most of the time. Certainly with melody, I'm not, I literally use the first melody that I come up with. I've never heard the track before, or we're playing and I've never heard the chords that the person is going to go for. And I'm just intuiting where the melody, where the pre-chorus, where that chord change is going to go. It's like total intuition. And so that is like mindlessness. It has to be. Because I don't have any history of, I don't know music theory. I've never had a music lesson. I can't read music. I've never had a singing lesson. So it's all intuition. But then the words is, I might write down titles as I'm walking around in the world. I might see something and think, oh, chandelier. I'm looking at a chandelier and I might think, oh, I could swing from that. That would make an interesting concept. Like, nobody's done a concept about swinging from a chandelier. So, or with Titanium, I wrote that backwards. Normally I start with the chorus, but I wrote the verses, bulletproof, nothing to lose. And then I was like, what is bulletproof? And I typed into Google, what is bulletproof? And it said titanium.
Wow, that's amazing. 1,000 Forms of Fear is the album. Sia, real quick before we let you go, while you were creating songs for this album, did any other songs come out of it that you're giving to any of those massive pop stars that you maybe kind of referenced earlier?
Yes, actually. A couple Rihanna's coming. Maroon 5, Gwen Stefani, no doubt. Kylie Minogue. They were on her album while I was doing that. Actually, I think Diamonds probably came into this sort of realm around this time. Bar Wild Ones and Titanium, anything that came after those was during this whole process of pulling for this album, my album.
Well, again, it's number 1 on iTunes right now, and it looks like it's headed for number 1 on the Billboard 200.
So amazing.
It's amazing.
That'd be so cool.
1,000 Forms of Fear. You can get it now. Sia, hey, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations.
Thank you, sweetie. Bye now.